In 72 hours, you and your fellow players are members of the FEMA Region 9 Regional Response Coordination Staff. Your team will need to work together to stabilize a disaster within 72 hours per FEMA Administrator guidance. The overall objective is to put personnel and resources in place to save lives, protect property and the environment, and meet basic human needs within this critical time frame. The team will need to act quickly to establish its objectives and priorities to accomplish this task. The game is played with a minimum of 4 section leader players, but the section leaders can and should include typical members from their sections as needed to fulfill their roles and responsibilities. In fact, players might find the pace of the game too fast to effectively play without additional key staff members. The minimum player positions are the Regional Response Coordination Staff Chief, the Situational Awareness Section Chief, the Planning Support Section Chief, the Resource Support Section Chief, and a Regional Response Coordination Staff Support player is highly recommended. Players obtain a next-generation Incident Command System account and become familiar with its operations. The training incident built for 72 hours is California FEMA PTAC SAC flood game found in the 2015 archives. Several data layers have been developed for the game and are available to players. Sacramento Political, 3 sections of the city. Sacramento Pods, predefined points of distribution. Sacramento Flood Hazards is a layer of locations of significant events that will be identified during the game. Sacramento Hospitals, since many of the hospitals lie within the 500-year floodplain. And the game was designed using coordinates for the U.S. National Grid System. This data set should be selected. In addition, planners may want to set up their own workspace at this time. The board has the overall 500-year flood map in the upper left corner. The lower left corner is the operational tempo players will follow to determine requirements at each turn. The basic gameplay is in the lower right corner. At its simplest, 72 hours requires a situational awareness section chief to draw a situation input card every minute, and players must react appropriately. At the end of every 10-minute turn, players act according to the operational tempo. The upper right corner has a map of Sacramento area with the U.S. National Grid System and pre-designated points of distribution. The U.S. National Grid System is used to quickly plot the location of various situational inputs. The far right edge of the board game has a turn tracker. Keep the situation input cards in their respective turns and shuffle them. Place the first few turn cards face down next to the discard pile. Shuffle the resource request sourcing cards and place them face down next to the discard pile. Players should distribute and become familiar with pre-scripted mission assignment cards. While players may write their own requests for resource cards, the pre-scripted mission assignment cards can expedite requests because they have already included such factors as cost. Players who wish to write their own resource request forms will need to research and provide all items such as resource capability and cost. The resource bin has 24 turn compartments to track the movement of resources. Each compartment represents 1 10-minute turn, 3 hours of simulated time for resource processing/travel. At the end of each turn, the turn marker should be moved to the next compartment. When a resource is ordered, it is placed in the appropriate time cell corresponding to the expected travel and setup time. The resources cannot be used and pulled from resource tracking board until the respective game time is reached. Ensure player guide is available to all players. Players can use the electronic version of the player guide as well. Set a 1-minute timer and a 10-minute timer, and your team is ready to begin.